Welcome to the Radical Lifestyle Podcast, brought to you by Generation to Generation, where you'll be inspired by the past, equipped for the present, and prepared for the future as we engage in conversations with people from around the world. If you've been inspired by the guests that we've had on the podcast, please like, subscribe, comment, hit notification bells, whatever you can do on the platforms that you're listening on, so that more people have the opportunity of hearing these and engaging in our community. Hello everyone, this is Andrew and Daphne. Our guest today is Carine Bassili. Carine, for people that don't know who you are, could you just say a bit about where you're from and what you do?
Hello everyone, my name is Carine and I'm from Lebanon, and I'm a worshiper. I do sing, and not in normal songs. We've been doing like reconciliation songs, and I have a nonprofit organization that we actually do help the Lebanese people, especially in the crisis right now.
Okay, and then for people that hear this, they say, I like Carine, I want to follow her, I want to see more about what she's doing. Where can they do that?
We can do Instagram on Carine Bassili. It says official, or Facebook, and the website. It's Pure Love Worship. Yeah,
Okay.
and YouTube channel too if you want to hear the music.
Okay, and I'll get all those links. I'll put them in the description box. So for those listening or watching, the links are there ready for you to go and check out. Carine, before we get to stuff that you're doing today, can you just give us some of your background? How long have you been in the US for? But what was your life like before the US?
Yeah, I was born in Lebanon, and it was a time of war. We had so many civil wars over there, and 1985. And I was just remembering a lot of my journey there, being actually in bomb shelters with my family, or running down from our building, 5th floor, down to the bomb shelter, and the next building next to us, we didn't have one, so we had to go and be able to find a spot next to us. And it was not easy to live under that, like seeing all the wars happening now and seeing the kids. Like, I know what trauma is. Like, I went through it myself. And it was definitely no food, no medication. My sister almost died actually in that time because we didn't have medication. But thank God, there's one angel person who went and got her medication to save her. It could be an angel, maybe, I'm not sure. But just always living in Lebanon was something. Like, always there's something. There's always an event, either like, like different, like either Israel's, or either the people between each other, or even the Palestinian doing something, or the Muslim and the Christian, or Syria. There was always something going on. Like, I barely remember like some unrest time. Like, it was always something happening there. So it wasn't a fun childhood. I was actually glad and happy to leave when I left in 2005. Just, I needed a break. I was like ready to have a break from all this, Even when I left, there was a big bomb happen. It was when they killed the assassin, the prime minister, Al-Hariri, the big explosion. Thank God I wasn't there. I was supposed to be there, but in the afternoon. But thank God we were not there. But so even when I left, it was very hard, and I'm like, get me out of here. I don't want this anymore, So it was just not easy.
So
So yeah,
as a child, what were you told while you were living in such terrible situations with bombs coming from everywhere? There must have been some sort of explanation given to you.
There was really, my mom really had a lot of stress. She was so stressed out. There was time my dad was in Cyprus too. Like, he was the family went, because the men were going to war. So we have my grandma sent her 3 boys to Cyprus, for work and to be safe. My dad went there too because they want to provide. He want to provide for us. So there was time my dad was not there, and I was only exposed to my mom being afraid. So she couldn't even tell me like, you're gonna be okay, because like she just didn't know. Um, I was never, like, it's not like here, you have these parents explain to their kids what's going on. Like, we were just trying to survive. We were in survival mode. Like, there was no room for anything, Um, it was too stressful to think of the kids, what we need to tell them, we need to stay alive.
Wow.
We've had people on here before who talked about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. But for you to mention it and coming from Lebanon, can you just maybe explain how did either Israel or the Palestinians, how do they impact Lebanon?
Well, from the history of the war, and I'm not talking in a political way because I never belonged to any of the political people I never had a part with anyone. But for me, seeing what's been happening and reading some of the things that took place, because when I got older, I wanted to know like what happened really when I was young. I wanted to know. So when the Palestinians were kicked out from Jordan, they came to Lebanon. The military of what's his name, Yasser Arafat. So they came to Lebanon, and then we had we had Syria supposed to come to Lebanon to help Lebanon, and they actually ended up like having a war against Lebanon, and so we end up being the Christians were attacked by the Palestinians, by the Syrian army. Like, we have so many people got killed, so many Christians, they got kidnapped by the Syrian regime in that time, which was the father of al-Assad, Hafiz al-Assad. So I remember my mom just being just like terrified from the Syrian, from the stories that they know. People, even in family, were kidnapped and killed. And, they used to stop them in checkpoints to check your ID, if you're Christian, if you're Muslim. It was terrifying. Like, we even have one time, like, Palestinians come into my aunt's house, and they were just like, trying to invade her house, and they were hidden under the beds. And when they were her and her kid, because her husband passed away. So there was always just like, they were definitely going after the Christian. And I think the reason why, from my thoughts, because like they when they killed the one of the president, his name is Bashir, he was trying to have peace with Israel, because he's Christian. You can only have, but the president is only Christian in Lebanon. So supposedly they were attacking the Christian because he wanted to do peace treaty with Israel, and that really, actually, I think, really affected the Christians and all the things that took place in that time. To kidnap, to kill, and to invade this region, because literally we were kind of like the east and the west. The area is divided. The Christian and Muslim, they are divided. So they know who they can target by shooting their missile on the on the west or east. So yeah, and I was on the border where we lived. We were literally on the border between the Christian and the Muslim area, and that was like one of the hardest area. Like, yeah, it was the frontliner we were when it comes to the bombing and the attacks. It was devastating. It was very traumatic.
And then, for people that haven't been to Israel or they have no idea about the Middle East, where is Lebanon in relation to Israel?
Right now?
In terms of location, like for people looking at a map.
Yeah, well, the Lebanon is up and Israel is in the bottom. So the south of Lebanon is actually in the north of Israel.
And how far were you from that border?
I was far from the border because the war, when it took place, was not actually just there. So, okay, with the war with Israel and Lebanon was happening in the north, and I think even like nothing. I know Israel even made it, like invaded all the way down to Beirut. They really went all the way in, and some people say they were trying to stand with the Christian to support them and because if they wanted to stay, they would have stayed. They would have completely. They could have stayed, but they didn't stay. They left, and I wonder if how much they trying to help the Christian in that time. Just a question, that I had in my mind. Because a lot of Jews in that time when Israel came, they left. A lot of Lebanese Jews, they actually left. And I find out that when I did my research, when the Israeli came, they knew they're not going to be safe anymore. So we have a lot of Lebanese Jews actually in Israel right now.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So you were kind of caught in between lots of different issues, whether it be conflict between Lebanon and Israel, or conflict because of Palestinian people fleeing or moving into Lebanon. So how old were you when you left Lebanon?
I was 20.
You were 20. Okay, so you lived a lot of your life in and around conflict.
Hmm?
And then how did that impact you, even after you left? How did that, living within that situation, how did that really impact you personally?
When I left, and I honestly dealt with a lot of fear in my life. I literally got to the point I used to be afraid from thunderstorm. I hated thunderstorm. I couldn't sleep. My mom kept on sleeping next to me until the age of like 13 years old. It was not easy just to grow in that time, and it's just like, so I just didn't know I had, in Lebanon they're gonna tell you, oh, you go to, to do to the like to do some treatment, with the psychology or whatever. They're just nothing. They didn't really think of it. But when I left, and the war happened, there was a war happened in 2006 between Lebanon and Israel, and it was a big war. I wasn't there, but watching the news and watching what's happening and the fear for my family there, because my family was still there. Thank God they are not there anymore. I was watching the news and I start dealing with anxiety and just like fear and and I was like, literally, I had to face myself. I'm like, I am far away from these things. Why it's still affecting me? And that's when I found out, I'm like, I have to deal with these stuff that's from my childhood. And I had to start going after my personal healing from the trauma, to be able to keep going with my life, because I thought first I'm going to deal with it with some medication. All that stuff need to be healed in a different way. And this is like something definitely the Lord was able to help me with, to be healed from that experience.
So when you came to the States, what did you decide to do? What was, you arrived back in the States, then what was your life like immediately?
Coming here was one of the best thing that ever happened to me in that time when I got out of Lebanon. I felt just such a relief to be out of this, because like when I left, even when I left, like a month before, no, actually less than a month before, I was there in February 14 on Valentine 2005. A big explosion happened that they killed the minister. And I had my visa to come here, and my fiance was with me too. It was his first experience. Thank God he experienced something small over there with me. And and we left in March 4th, 20 days after. It was a disaster in Lebanon, and my family was like, "Get out of here. You don't have to be married here. Just go get married over there," So I came here, and it was just like the most amazing experience, just stepping on this land. And I was very influenced by, seeing movies in here, like seeing the families, seeing the country, the grass, everything. I was just blown away by every second being in this country. And I was thinking, oh, that's it. It's going to be, I'm done. My past is there. It's going to be done. But I came here, and the Lord took me to a journey just in the beginning. I was just like, living life, got married, and And when I dealt with that stuff, the trauma, I start to try to just kind of like heal through it. And I got to a place that the Lord really start calling me back to pursue him more. My husband was Mormon. I was not really able to be part in this. I tried to do it for him, but I couldn't do it. And I started getting the call just to really from the Lord to go back to my childhood, because I used to go to church with my uncle when I was a little girl, to a Christian church. It was planted by American organizations, and it was one of the beautiful, one of maybe the beautiful memory that I had growing up being in that church. So he was calling me for that back, and that's why I would start praying. We went through a very hard time in 2008 and 9 due to some financial, and that's when the Lord started shifting me to go back to him, and it really got my attention. And I was that close to be baptized in the Mormon church, just because I was like, Lord, you have to direct me. If you really don't want me to be part of this church, you're gonna have to stop me. And I remember morning, and at 9 o'clock in the morning, I look at my phone, and my whole room shook by voice saying, Carine, you know where I want you to be, 2 times, and it was in Arabic. And I had to cancel the baptism, and the Lord took me to a journey to pursue him after that. I went to Lebanon in 2000, after that, in 2009, in September. And my sister gave me a Bible. She didn't know the Lord was working on me. I didn't want to tell her, you were right from the beginning. You know how that go, because she used to tell me about the Lord. And I took the Bible, and I went back home again to America, and my husband already left. He did his own journey, and he left the Mormon church just because the Lord spoke to him, and he left so peacefully on his own. I didn't stop him not to go. I told him, I don't want you to leave for me. You have to leave for him if he really wants you to leave. So yeah, I came back here, and I started reading my Bible, and that my journey started in 2009 on Christmas Eve, actually. And that was the beginning of my real Christianity,
So living in Lebanon, living in the Middle East, what were you taught about Israel? What connection didn't you have? What was your story growing up about this neighbor on your doorstep?
The thing is, my parents never spoke anything bad about Israel. They never said anything bad. But I used to hear it in the news. I used to hear it in the society. I used to hear it in my school, because my mom moved me from a Catholic school to a public school in the age of 11. And yeah, I was exposed for the first time to be around kids who are Muslim Shia, and they hated Israel. And in that time, we did have some conflict with Israel, and every time they come with a jet, they used to curse Israel, and I used to hear that, and I used to look, and I'm just because I used to hear from the Christian how the Muslim used to attack them, and how, and I used to see it too, because I lived in the border, like I said before, and I used to see groups of young men from Hezbollah, example, coming to our area, and just hitting the Christian and causing some unrest, and just breaking into churches, attacking the Christian when they're doing the walk to do with Easter, on the Good Friday. So there was always something they're trying. I've seen it. I used to go to my kitchen and look on the window, and I used to see them coming from their region on their motorcycle with their flags and saying their Allahu Akbar thing, when they're coming in. And I used to be very scared about it when they say, I'm like, oh, trouble again, So I used to see this part, and I used to see Israel, and I'm like, okay, so they are bad with us. They're trying to do things bad to us. So if Israel's gonna hit them, is that a good thing for us or not? So I was just so confused, I just didn't know, because they are Lebanese, and I was just like, what should I think about this? But I didn't hate the Muslim. I didn't hate Israeli, but I was like, where should I stand, you know? And that took me to a journey. Like even you know, like it took me to a journey to I want to discover the truth. Like there's something missing here, you know? Did that
Can you talk to us a bit about that journey?
the journey of knowing? Yeah. So in 2016, I started going to. I was doing an internship with the ministry, and they brought a rabbi who believed in Jesus, in Yeshua. And that was like my first ever experience to hear someone who is Jewish, he believed in Jesus. And I'm like, that's very interesting. And he was start talking about Israel. He was talking about Isaiah, and he's talking about all the things that, you know, about God's promises to Israel. And, you know, he was showing all these scriptures. And I was just sitting in the crowd and listening. And I felt like he was like a key, and something was unlocked in me. And I'm just like, what the heck is that? Like I knew this, but I was never able to see it the way that he was actually sharing about it. And I couldn't shake it off. And it was hunting me everywhere I go. And I had to start I had the curiosity to research and see people who were Jews or Christian, their stories, and people who are actually in Israel who do worship. I wanted to hear what their songs sounds like. And I was not doing any singing in that time. I used to do it only in my room between me and the Lord. So what happened is I just, you know, I had a dream. I was supposed to go to Germany. There was no mission trip to Germany, but then I find out a few days after, actually, our pastor said there is a trip to Germany, was very prophetic. So based on the dream that I had, our pastor was like, well, we're supposed to go to Germany. And we were ready to go. In that time, there was a lot of people leaving Syria to go to to go to Germany, Berlin, and all this area. So we decided to go and minister to them, and we went in August 2018, and we arrived there, and my heart, just the Lord started showing me things. It was a very crazy journey. I got to Germany, and I was seeing a lot of dreams about just the actually before that, when I arrived to Berlin, you know, in the restroom, I saw some girls talking, and I was like, what language is this? I asked them. I love to talk to people. I'm like, what language is this? And she was like, this is Hebrew, you know, I'm from Israel. And they were like teenagers, and I'm just like, what are you doing here? I'm like, this is in my mind. I'm like, this is Germany. And she was like, we are part of an organization that our parents sent us here to have reconciliation with the German. And I was like, it hit me so hard, because in my mind I was thinking, I'm like, man, like Israel didn't do as near to what the German did to the Jewish people. And here we are, we hate the Jew to the point like we want them to be dead, you know, like in Lebanon. And you know, and just you know, I just, for the first 3 days over there, I was seeing dreams about you know, like the Holocaust, and it was very disturbing to me. But everywhere I was walking after that in Germany, I was just seeing all these monuments and all these history about the Holocaust, and my heart was just, I was crying. I was like, Lord, like, I'm here for the Arabs. Like, what are you trying to show me? And so when we came back to the state, I started doing more research, and I start like listening to some preaching. I was reading, focusing more on the scriptures that talk about God's promise to Israel. And my eyes literally, there was like literally a veil, and I felt it was a very thin veil. I feel like the Christians are like a veil away from the truth to understand, you know, what is Israel, you know, and who is Israel. And I was just in awe, you know. I was like, wow, like, why I didn't know all this before, but it was the time for me to know in this season. And I start, you know, just praising the Lord and listening his songs in Hebrew. And in 2019, I start contacting with people over there. Just I want to hear from them in Israel. And and then 2020 happened. The COVID happened, and I was already wanted to go to Israel. I was planning to go just to go, but COVID happened. We couldn't go. And I was messaging some of the people I was connecting with over there who do music. And around April 2020, they released a song called Refana. And it was beautiful. I just didn't understand the meaning, but I found out it was meaning healing. And the music was so touching to me. I was like, I want to do this in Arabic. And I was start doing this on my own in Arabic. And I did it in Arabic, and I posted on my Instagram. And the person who wrote it from Israel was actually in shock that actually I was playing this song. And that started a completely another journey after that.
Sorry.
I don't know what that journey was now, but
well, yeah, and maybe you can talk a bit about this this journey and releasing the song. But before you released the song, maybe you could just say, did you realize the implications of what would happen if you released this song as well?
Yeah, even when I released that song, it took me a while, like a few days, just because I was a little bit hesitated. And if I like the song I had a hat and my face was not there, and I had no idea actually they're gonna post it there. Like, I just didn't know the impact of the song, because after that the song went viral and it was on the news, and not about me, it was about his song. But they had even Lebanon sing the song, and my hat was there, and I had the Lebanese hat with the flag on top, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, I a little bit freaked out. My stomach was like, oh no, like I just like, but the Lord kept on telling me, it's okay. I want to break you from this fear. I want you to break. I want to do a new thing. You are in the front line, but I want to break you from that fear, because I want you to get there. I didn't understand what is to get there first in that moment, So I kept on like walking these baby steps towards going forward with meeting and knowing and talk to people from Israel. It was my first experience doing a Zoom call with my friend, and I was like, when I was looking, I was like, I cannot believe I'm talking to an Israeli right now. He's like me too, and he was a captain in the IDF before, and I'm just like, oh, you are a captain, so I don't know how I feel about this right now.
And then the song you released, was it with him?
Yeah, it was with him.
Okay, so can you just tell us a bit about that song and what happened as a result of having released that song as well?
So when he released his part in his song in April, between April and August, we were talking so much, we were communicating, and I told him we have to do a song together. I don't know what it sounds like, but I didn't know in that time we're going to do the Refana in Arabic. I was talking about more like, coming together as like the children of like, like the Abraham, like coming together. And that was before when they did, like before even they did the Abrahamic Accord, which is just another story. But yeah, it was, it was, we decided to do the song, and we start working on it. But then we wanted to do an interview for the first time, coming with him, with someone else too in worship. We were supposed to come live and do a meeting in August 4th. And in August 4th, when I woke up to do the interview with them, the explosion happened in Beirut in the morning when I woke up at 7, and I had to tell them I cannot do the interview. I cannot come live with you guys, because they were saying Israel was part of it. So I told them it was a shock to me. I couldn't do live with anyone in that moment. Plus, it was, if there's Israel involved, I don't want to be part of it right now. Just let's just not do this. But yeah, so after after the bomb, I just really didn't reach out to him. It was definitely um, a mourning time to see what's happening in my country. You know, I just didn't want to be involved in anything. I took like a month or two just stepping away from everything. I couldn't move forward just seeing how much my country was suffering. But then he was like, "Hey, Carine, do you want to still do the song?" I'm like, "Yes, yes, I want to," but just like I told him what I've been going through. But anyway, around we start working on it again, and we decide we want to do the final first because I told him I think my country needs healing right now, and I think if we do a healing before we even have reconciliation, we have to go through a deep healing of the things that happened between my country and yours. So we decided to do the song in Arabic, and I told him, "Hey, do you want to sing it with me in Arabic?" He's like, "Yeah, but you have to teach me how to do it." I was like, it means a different way. It means a lot maybe if you sing the language. So we were able to do Zoom call and teach him how to pronounce, and he's recording the same time, like help him the pronunciation. So he recorded the song with me in Arabic, and we we released it in 2021 in January. And even when we released it, it was definitely not easy to release it because I was like feeling a little bit scared because I was like, man, that's gonna be it for me. Like I cannot go to Lebanon. Like, how do I feel about this? And it was so many mixed emotions. Like, yes, Lord, I'll do it, but I'm like, but oh, my country, like I cannot step back in my country, and I wanted to go back. And and the Lord was doing so much. He was comforting me, like he was like, if you don't do it, like if you don't do it, who's gonna do it? Like he's like, I entrust you with this, and I know your heart, and I know you are more than capable to do this, Karine. And for me, is like I remember hearing like Catherine Kuhlman was saying like you know if she doesn't, he told her like if you don't do it, he's gonna give it to someone else, you know, like he will pass it. And I was like, Lord, like I want to be able to do everything you desire for me to do. Like I even skip me to give it to someone else. Like that was for me, it was like I don't want to be skipped out to do an assignment for the Lord just because I said no. I want to say yes to, even it's crazy. I'm like, he's gonna be with me. So I said yes, and he gave me so many confirmation about it. Like people start speaking into my life about this project, not knowing what I didn't share it with anyone yet in that time. And it was confirmation after confirmation. So when I said yes and we released it, I was ready for it to be out, but I was not ready to to see how much it's gonna go out, because when the song was released, like literally, like every country, almost not all the countries, but a lot of countries in the world, in like Spanish, in France, and like in Europe, and in a lot of countries in the Middle East and Africa, a lot of news and media, like newspapers, articles, they just like were talking about this song, the historic event that took place between a Lebanese and an Israeli. That's something that never happened. It's not, doesn't exist anywhere in the archive, you know. So in the archive. So it was I was hiding. I'm like, oh my goodness, like what? Like I just didn't want to even be in an interview, and the media, even in Dubai and other countries, they wanted to interview me, and I was just like, I was not ready for something like this. I'm like, Lord, I don't want to do interview. And he was like, hey, it's gonna be okay. I'm gonna use you. I'm gonna be your mouth. You are the vessel, and I'm gonna use you, Karine. I'm gonna be your mouth. I'm gonna be your eyes, your ears, everything. So I told him I'm nervous. I've never been on camera. Like I'm not comfortable with this. So anyway, the Lord did a personal thing with me to be able to do this. And finally, after a few days, and I remember I shut down my phone. I completely turned it off because I didn't want to answer to anyone. And until the Lord tells me, okay, do this, you know. So after 2 days, I opened my phone again, and I start answering back for some of the Yes to Do interview in Dubai and some other media. Um, and for me, it was like I just wanted to know, like it was Jesus. He's the one who wants us to be the peacemaker. It was not me, Carine, as a person, being a peaceful person. I wanted them to know, like, he is calling us to be the peacemaker. He's the one who wants us to do these things, and to go beyond the hate, because these are his commandments, that we're not supposed to hate our neighbors. We're supposed to love them the way we love ours. It's just like, I was like, all these scriptures were like just coming all over, like, and I was just like, these are his commandment to us, to not hate the Israeli. And that was my message, tell them from a Christian person, not because I want to be a Christian on the media, no, because this is who we are, and our fruits of our word and our action. And we cannot just read what we read from the Bible, or be in a church as a Christian and not put it into actions. And I am someone who doesn't like to say things. I like to put them into action. So I think maybe this is why the Lord, like, maybe he picked me, because he knew whatever I say I want to do. So
you've mentioned that you were scared about it, that you hid. You said that nothing like this had been done before, with someone from a Lebanese person, Israeli, partnering to do the song, but maybe people wouldn't understand why all this media attention, why the fear. What was it about this partnership that created all this attention?
Can I just say, I don't think we've mentioned what the song is, or what the words of the song are, have we? Can you just tell, before you answer what Andrew says, what was it about? It wasn't just your partnership. What was the song we're talking about? What was it about? And then go back to Andrew.
The song was about, it was about healing.
Right.
About the prayer that he did. It's a prayer that he did, Yair. It's a Jewish prayer, the Rafana. And it's like when Miriam, she was praying for her, to pray, like praying for Moses was praying for the healing of his sister. He was crying out, and it was just a sentence. It was just a simple prayer, and but I think because I think because of he's Israeli and I'm Lebanese, singing together, and we're enemies, like these are enemies country. They've been hating each other for years, and I think more the Lebanese were more on hating. That's what I've been discovering in the last few years. But that kind of like, it's a historical that never happened. Like, you don't find anything like it. And I researched before on YouTube. I was like trying to see if there's any like archives from the previous years, like long time ago, before the war. Is there anything going on there? Like, I just didn't see anything. So I was like, wow, it's gonna be the first collaboration ever. And it was actually really the first collaboration between an Israeli and in general. So that's why it was a big deal for all the media.
And did you know that the release of this song, did you know before it went out that it would result in you being banned from being able to return?
I heard about a law that existed in that time, but I didn't really realize that it's actually a serious law until I saw actually the banning from the Lebanese government that I got actually just last December. In December in 2022, when I got the official banning that I cannot enter the country. That's interesting. After 2 years, I think, because they were trying to search for me in Lebanon. I find out about that to see if I was still there. They were just kind of confused. They were trying to because my name, I'm not registered as a I'm still single in Lebanon. I'm not registered that I'm married over there. So going by my Carine Bassili was a little bit like misleading to them. But then I don't know how they were able to find my location where I lived over there, and they found my real name. But that's why I found out from the paper of the banning from the Lebanese government that it's written by my before I got married, my last name, and then but known by Carine Bassili. So they did some research about it, and to get to where they got It took that long because they were doing that research to find my real name.
Oh, so it was published in a newspaper that you were banned from returning?
Yeah, it was, but it was official from the Lebanese government, from the prime minister.
What do you think would have happened if you had been there and they found you?
Oh, you won't. This space will be gone somewhere, disappeared. They're gonna either put me in jail, or I think it'll be more than jail, because I did a collaboration in this song. Like, I was in contact and talking, and I didn't speak bad about anyone. I didn't speak about any party. That was not the intention of the song. The song is like more, we are sick and tired of that hate. We are sick and tired of seeing a generation that hating on a country that biblically, we are supposed to not hate, and this is another. It's going to open another door for so much more regarding the history of, because they do not know the truth. Even the Christian, they don't know, because they don't really focus on reading the Old Testament. To really know, where why there is Israel now, why it existed, why it need to be Israel. They don't know. They don't understand. And the Muslim, they're just. It's I think it's more pride things, for they lost a land. I believe it's just a pride. They lost that land, but it's for me, just after I researched, it's even written. It's written in the Quran too. When I was seeing it, and I'm just like, if it does say that, like Israel, and they talk about the nation, Israel is not only the people. They say only Israel is the people and not a nation. But when it's written in the books that it's a nation, what nation is this? Where is it? Like, there is more proofs that it exists than it proves that it doesn't exist. You cannot ignore this. And that's why I was seeing all these history. I was watching YouTube, I was reading, I was researching, and I was like, how deceived are we to really believe this lie? Because if the Bible says, like, my people perish for lack of knowledge, and I think, the lack of knowledge is getting us to be where we are right now, as in Lebanon. We're perishing. Look what Lebanon is right now. It's a disaster where the country is right now. It's a mess. I don't know how long it's going to take to be fixed again.
Well, do you still have family in Lebanon now?
My sister and my mom is here. My dad passed away in 2013.
I was just wondering if, when they were trying to find you, if you had family there and they were impacted by that at all.
My main family is here. My extended family is there. I told them, like, I didn't even talk to them. I haven't been really in contact with them. I've been so busy doing things. Like, but I did tell them, like, I told my mom, can you tell them, like, I'm doing this, like, I'm not gonna be communicating with them, because it's dangerous for them, maybe, but maybe it's not. But honestly, they have nothing to do with my decision. They have nothing to do with anything. Some of my side of the family, they're like, you haven't done anything wrong. We have leaders here who stole from the people, who are destroying the country. They are killing us even alive here. These are the people that need to be killed and need to go to jail, and not you. They were just like empowering me, like, you have done nothing wrong. Because, for me, I think this taking a stand, doing the steps, why is it for Lebanon? Because we need to bring the knowledge of the Lord into this nation, to understand why we cannot hate. Because in the scripture it says, like, blessed, he will bless those who bless you, and he will curse those who curse you. So I have this idea, as Lebanon is cursed because they've been cursing Israel, and I'm just like, I don't want my country to be cursed. We want to bless. So the reason why I want to do these songs, we want to be able to, if you find one person, like, when one person is saved, he will save, he will save the nation, he will save, So I was thinking, like, okay, if I do that, if me, Carine, I will take this stand, and I will be out there doing this mission, and that's gonna start, like, having mercy for Lebanon, and there are going to be more people encouraged to do the same things. And it's amazing and fascinating because I start seeing amazing messages from Lebanese Christians in Lebanon that they were messaging me and telling me, we have been waiting for someone to do this. We can't because we are in Lebanon, but we have been praying for someone to take a stand like this. And I was like, so encouraged and so empowered by these people, because I know there's even people are meeting in places with Israeli in different nations. They are praying together for Lebanon, for Israel, Jews and Lebanese Christians. They are praying together for these nations, and outside of Lebanon, they are meeting in secret places. And I know that because I've seen the meeting. It's beautiful what God is doing. And that was way after I released the songs. And that confirmed to me that we are heading to the right directions with what we're doing. And there is more things to come that we are working on, hopefully soon.
So did the person that you collaborated with, the Jewish person, did he know the price you would have to pay?
Yeah, his name is Yair Levy.
Right.
He knew. Yeah, he knew it's going to take, and he was very honoring for that I'm taking this step. And he was like, Carine, thank you for doing this, for my country, like, thank you for taking that stand. He's an amazing guy, he does a lot of songs from Psalms, from the scriptures, and he does a lot of prayers. This is like, he loved the Lord, he loved God. And he was very encouraging and supporting, and he's seen all the stuff that was spoken against me, against the collaboration. They put the song in one of the big pages called the Arab Israeli or something. It's a big page. They have millions of people from Palestinian, all these Arabic Muslim people, and they were just like really like just mocking this collaboration and just saying all these negative things. But it was not easy. It's something new to me. Like, I'm just never been exposed to things like this, but it was an expansion for me to be able to know how to deal with this, and the death threat and all these cussing, to deal with it, and he was seeing it, and he was very appreciative of like really doing this for his people, like to be vocal,
So, you've been on your own journey in terms of walking through all the trauma, finding your own sort of personal peace and healing through that, and gone through the conflicts and being able to get to the US and working through all of that as well, and finding your own journey of peace and a sort of reconciliation between you personally and Israelis, and which kind of, I guess, brings us to what you're doing today. And you have a big heart for reconciliation and peace. Can you talk a bit about what you're doing now? And I know that you have a heart specifically for the connection between the Lebanese and Israelis.
Yeah. When there's a part I didn't share too, actually, finding out even the tribe of Asher was the south of Lebanon. That was something very significant to me to see. I'm from the south of Lebanon. I am from the south. I'm from Sidon. It's mentioned in the Bible. So it's what we're doing right now is we're continuing working on creating songs for unity, that praise the God of Israel, the true God of Israel, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And, our songs is going to be focused on that. We just want to be vocal to share the truth through songs, to fight through the song, because it says, I have this like sentence, like it's like, my weapon is a melody. I'm not gonna fight for the missiles and bombing. I want to fight with a sound. I believe there is a power in the sound, because God created this world with a sound. And I believe like even warfare happen in the airways, and the sounds goes in the airways, and us releasing the sounds, I believe God was already working something. And we saw some of the the breakthrough that took place when we released the song, it was very significant. So what we're gonna continue doing this different collaboration with different people. We have a new song that I wrote. It's already been produced. We're just working on getting together. It's with some. We have an American person, we have an Israeli, and it's gonna be me coming together to do. It's like I kind of call it the real Abrahamic Accord, because he's Christian, I'm Christian, and our friend is a Jewish. So we are doing like the real Abrahamic Accord songs, when it comes to the praising the God of Israel. So this is going to be the journey to continue.
Sounds good. For people listening, a lot of people may be dealing with trauma, maybe from regions like you, where you're from, or they're going through their own situations. Earlier on you said you'd managed to work through your trauma, dealing with your childhood traumas and all that kind of stuff. Maybe you could just, as we come to an end, could you just talk a bit about that journey and how you found that healing from your traumas? Maybe for people listening, just it'd be an encouragement for them to hear, here's someone that's gone through trauma, has found her healing, and it would be an encouragement to them that, they too can work through their traumas and find healing on the other side.
Yeah, first we have to acknowledge and confess, and accept that we have problem, honestly, that's where I came to a realization for this. And second, we have to share it with the people around us, to tell them, hey, I deal with this. And who definitely Jesus' work played a big role in my healing, my prayers, my singing to him to heal me, and asking to heal me, and have a support of people to pray for me and to help me, and to go to the roots of the problem, and to speak out the memory, and to kind of go through a inner healing with people who understand how they can help me, and to go through it, and to have that therapy. But for me, it was more a spiritual therapy than a medical therapy. You know what I mean? It was more a spiritual healing that able to allow, for me, it was allow, Jesus to take over that and be a strength in those weak areas that I was struggling with. And still there is layers of healing, there's several layers, and working on more right now, we go through that, there's never ending, but it will come to an end until we will leave this place. But there's different layers of trauma, but it's just, we have to acknowledge it, don't hide it, and talk about it, share with the people you can trust about your trauma, because if you're going to keep it to yourself, you're not going to be able to be healed. It's like the devil is going to want us to stay where we at, not to move forward. And if I didn't share it and I spoke out about it, I wouldn't be able to be where I am right now and stand for a great cause, which is actually not a cause. It's a mission, and it's a vessel used for the Lord to bring a healing between nations, the nation that it's dear to his heart.
Yeah, that's really good. And hopefully when you said you're going through a trauma right now, you didn't mean this recording of this.
No. There's layers of healing,
Yeah.
Dealt with, the hard one, there is layers,
Yeah. Carine, thank you so much. Encourage everyone that's listening. Again, the links are in the description box. Go check out what she's doing. Go to social media, watch the YouTube videos. Thank you so much. It's been really interesting to hear some of your journey, and I think there's a lot there to encourage other people who are listening, whether they come from your area, your region. There's a lot for them to think about, and also for people around the world just who have gone through traumatic experiences all over the world, especially over the last few years, that there is hope. and you can find healing from the traumas that you've gone through. So thank you so much. We really appreciate you taking the time.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode. Remember, if it inspired you, share it with others so we can see more people engaged in this community.